Remember what I told you on how to begin your summary answer in an elementary way by using the subject of the question. Here are the possible answers by using the subject of the question. The first question on the benefit of the indigenization policy in Nigeria. A. The indigenization policy stopped the passage of capital flights. B. The indigenization policy made some Nigerians entrepreneurs. C. The indigenization policy increased the Nigerian capital flight, the capital markets. D. The indigenization policy made some Nigerians business lords. For the second question on the negative effects of the indigenization policy in Nigeria. A. The indigenization policy made the rich richer. B. The indigenization policy hindered private investments. Or you say, the indigenization policy hindered private investors. These are the other ways or the advanced way of answering summary questions by not starting the answer from the subject of the question, but by discovering the topic sentence and restructuring the topic sentence in such a way that you will not do mindless lifting. Here are possible answers to the first question on the benefit of the indigenization policy in Nigeria. A. The practice of capital flight stopped in Nigeria. B. Some Nigerians became entrepreneurs. C. The Nigerian capital markets gained increase. D. Some Nigerians became business lords. For the second question on the negative effects of the indigenization policy in Nigeria, here are the possible answers without starting the subject, without starting your answer with the subject of the question. A. The rich became richer. B. Private foreign investments were hindered, or you say private foreign investors were hindered. You will discover that in all these answers, both the elementary ones, that is starting the answer with the subject of the question, and the advanced ones, they were all complete sentences because you have the subject and you have the subject, the verb, and the other part of the sentence. Or simply put, you have the subject and the predicate. And within the predicate, you have the predicator, which is the verb. The subject, the remaining part of the sentence after the subject is the predicate. The remaining part of the sentence, when you remove the subject, is the predicate. And within the predicate, you have the predicator, which is the verb, and the other part, which can be objects or complements. Now, here is the second passage. With what you have done in the passage 1, I believe you should be able to answer this, answer the question on this second passage. But because of time, and I will not be able to read it together, I would like you to pause the video and do the reading and try to answer the questions just as we have done on the for the first passage. I will take you straight to the question on this passage and let's discuss something on it. Look at the question. The question says, in 6 sentences, one for each, summarize the step to be taken when faced with a problem and state why each is necessary. In 6 sentences, one for each, summarize the step to be taken when faced with a problem and state why each is necessary. If you look at this question critically, you will discover that 2 parts are underlined. Number 1, summarize the step. Number 2, state why. If you go back to the previous question we answered on the first passage, those questions have or require one information. Those questions require just one information: the benefits of the indigenization policy in Nigeria. And the other question require the information on the negative effects of the indigenization policy in Nigeria. But in this question, on the second passage, the question requires 2 pieces of information. Information on what and information on why. What and why. The what in this question is the step to be taken when faced with a problem, and the why is why each of the steps is necessary. In the first question, the other question on the first passage, we made use of simple sentences to answer the question because the questions require just one information. For this question on the second passage, you cannot use just a simple sentence to answer the question, because a simple sentence is a sentence that has just one information, one action, one event, one thing that happened. But here you need to give 2 answers, 2 information on each of your answers. You need to use a complex sentence to answer your question. You need to use a complex sentence to answer your question. A complex sentence is a sentence of one main clause and one the subordinate clause. One main clause and one subordinate clause. Or a complex sentence is a sentence that contains one independent clause and one dependent clause. So the 2 clauses in a complex sentence you will be able to answer the 2 pieces of information on the question accurately. The first clause will contain the first piece of information, and the second clause will contain the second piece of the information. With that, you will be able to capture the 2 parts of the question in your answer accurately. Now, I have answered the first question for you. Let's read it together. Collect all important information so as to help you understand what the problem is all about. Remember, the question asks for the step to be taken when faced with a problem and why the step is necessary. In this answer, collect all important information so as to help you understand what the problem is all about. The answer contains 2 information. The first one is to collect all important information about a problem, and the other part is so as to help you understand what the problem is all about. Read the passage again and answer the remaining questions. Make sure your answers look like mine. I mean, your answers contain the two parts of the question, the step and the reason for taking that step. The step and the reason for taking that step. Otherwise, if the two parts of the question are not captured in your answer, you may lose the entire marks on that particular answer or scoring point. So, read carefully, discover the answers, and state it accurately without doing mindless lip-syncing. Continue to subscribe to Danilla Academy YouTube channel. Continue to watch us, continue to patronize us, continue to contact us, continue to patronize us. You will be 10 times better than ever. We render several services. We can render services on anything you want. We can render service at home. We can render service online. All you need to do is to contact us. Contact us for private lesson. Contact us on how you can get to our academy, Danilla Academy. You can contact us on this WhatsApp number 070 3854 7134.